That's a little loud. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Thanks for tuning in to yet another live stream of working on stuff. Today I'm going to work a little bit on this Grace Jones. I'm confusing her name now. Grace Jones portrait for Babes of Retro, coming to Kickstarter in August. So I'll work a little bit on this and then move on to something else. Just working my way through commissions and some sets and so on. So just trying to catch up with stuff. So the sketch was done in Prismacolor, Coal Erase, black, and brown or terracotta. I can't remember which one it was. And I just did a light red glaze. And next I'm going to just give it a minute to dry a bit while I prep the rest of my paints. Tiny pencil, stubby. Start doing some shadows and get the skin tone in and do the background. Actually, I think I'm gonna do the background this like bright red. Let's probably block in the background first. Oh, what is this? Okay, that's fine. As on most streams, I'm using a combination of Liquitex and DecoArt acrylic paints. Everything's diluted with water. Stay there. A variety of brushes. That's it. Don't need fancy supplies to make stuff. Though it doesn't hurt to have fancy supplies, you don't need them. Time is at 12:30, so I'll be on for a few hours, probably till about 3. And I will take a few breaks in between, but I won't stop the stream. I'm just gonna let paint dry. Let's go with a bigger brush. I find that the best way to do fuzzy edges is to do the background first and get fuzzy there. So like around the hair, because I don't want the hair to be like a clear cut line. So I'm just making that uneven, and then when I do the hair colors, I get to decide exactly how much texture I want to add to it around the edge. And if I don't do any texture or too much texture, whatever edging I do right now is what will stay. But I'm hoping not to spend like 3 hours on this piece, so I'm not gonna go into crazy detail. Did enough detail with the pencil work, so hopefully most of that will show through to the final paints. To give me a nice definition of the character, or of Grace here. And that's it. I always like to try to use really colors out of the tube as much as possible for large areas, like this red, which is which is Naphthol Chromium. So if I do make a mistake or break out of the edges, paint outside of the lines where I don't want, I can always cover it over with just straight paint out of the tube without having to try to remix or, try to remember what formula I used. That's something I struggle with a lot in the paintings, is when I do mix colors, I tend to mix really small batches. And if that's not enough, then it's a challenge to get them done properly again. So let that dry for a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to mix a little bit of a dark skin tone, and I'm just going to use burnt umber and African violet. Hey, Matt. Yeah, PMG, baby. How you doing this fine Sunday? It's damn hot here. It's like 37 degrees. If you're going to stick around, Matt, I'll be working on your piece in about an hour. I don't think it's going to be done today, but that'll be ready this week. Whoops. Ah, sweet. Yeah. Don't overheat your phone, man. Not on my account. Going to Mexico for pleasure or business, or both? Oh, for fun. Nice. It's nice that now you're able to travel again. Not a big traveling person myself, but I think as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to go somewhere just because I can. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm waiting for, I think I'll get my vaccine next week, my second dose. Yeah. Double A with the double D. So I can travel the world, go nowhere. Oh, thanks for tagging Billy. Name's familiar. I don't think I'm not sure who that is, but the more the merrier. Hey, Bianca. How you doing? Yeah, I figured not too many people are gonna be doing her. So here she is. I was gonna do all Bond girls. I mean, that was one thought, but I probably won't. So as I mentioned before, this is for the Babes of Retro set from Bianca Thompson, which is going to be hitting Kickstarter early August or mid-August. I'll definitely be posting more information on that as it becomes available. Great roster of artists on this set, actually on all her sets. Killer art. Maybe the last set, which is Back to Retro 4, sold out in like 3 days. The previous one sold out pretty fast too. Just keep on getting better and better. Sweet. Yeah, Bianca, let me know whenever you're ready. We'll make it happen. Roldan, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, let's fix the focus. Working on Grace Jones portrait for Babes of Retro. I'm working on this for a little bit, and then I'm going to switch over to some Marvel stuff. Yeah, I'll be doing Marvel probably in 45 minutes or so. Gotta mix things up a little bit, you know. This is why I love these. I'm gonna call them indie sets. You get a nice break from all the men in tights. You get some more freedom with what to work on. There's another set I'm gonna, once I'm done, Babes, another independent set that I'll be working on. I don't think I can stream any of that, but it's more fantasy focused, so get to flex a different muscle, if you will. All original. Men in tights. Men in tights, men in tights. And ladies in tights. Sorry. We've got to be politically correct. All inclusive and all that. It's also nice to do likeness for a while, which is, you know, totally against the Upper Deck stuff where you can't have any likeness to any character and all that. These sets you kind of wanna, if you're doing a person, you wanna make sure that it looks like them. Otherwise, it's just a random portrait. Oh, thanks, buddy. Tell your friends about me. Now, Sundays is not the best day to stream because it's family time, chore time, but this is kind of my day off where I get to just do some paperwork, do backups, like server backups and stuff, which are always running in the background, and the phone is not ringing, I'm not getting berated with emails. So, it's a great time for some streaming. Hey Brian, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let me. Where is it? So shortly, I'll switch over to this guy. Get some more layers on. Whoa. Stay. Get some more layers on that. Get it close to the finish line. So stick around. Pour yourself a cold beverage or two. But second. There's the other card I did for the set so far. And this one. If anyone can recognize who this is, I'll be very impressed. And I recently finished a puzzle card. That was a fun one to do as well. It's 2 cards. One should be going to his forever home soon. What else do I have to show? Ah, Young Betty White. All right, you got it. I'm surprised anyone is familiar with it. But yeah, that's Young Betty White. Thanks, Bianca. Oh, hang on. I did this one too. What about this one? This one's watercolor. I don't usually do watercolor. I knew I did more. All right, so while the skin tones are drawing, or the undertones on the skin, let's start blocking in the hair. And for the first wash, I'm using a mixture of black and purple. That's too dark. And by too dark, I mean too saturated. I need to see some, I want to maintain the transparency of the line work. Because this is going to be the mid-tone for the hair. So highlights and the darks are going to come on top. with the same mixture. I'm gonna do the eyebrows, eyelashes, start blocking that in. Do the makeup after. Thanks, Brian. Well, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Enjoy your lunch. Most people love Grace Jones for Conan. I actually love her song from the movie Frantic. I wasn't aware that she had a song. Actually, maybe I was. I'm gonna have to look that up after. This is starting to dry, so I can do some of the core shadows. She has a CD. All right, I'm definitely gonna look that up. Hey Jeffrey, this is all acrylic paint, so I wouldn't go as far as saying fine paint, but yeah, it's marker. Not marker, sorry, it's paint. Wow. Guess that's my cue to drink some more coffee. Hold please. Cheap paint. And this is 5/0 fine brush. One of these days I'm gonna invest in a proper marker set and give markers a fair shake, if you will. But I'm in no rush. Thank you. I'm still learning how to paint. It's been a fun journey, to say the least. I'm getting this far anyways. So. Yeah, no problem, Max. Go put the phone in the freezer. Thanks, Bianca. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll see it when it's done. I'm not gonna hide it from you. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. So while Dot's drawing, let's block in her suit. I'm gonna hint at those giant shoulder pads. sure if the camera's picking up the, oh, maybe it is, the nuance of grays and blacks that I'm using here. I don't want to add too much contrast on here because I don't want it to stand out and take away from the actual portrait. But I do want to make sure that there's enough in detail so you can tell that there's a collar. And she's got the pinstripes too. There's something going on there. So now I'm gonna do the pinstripes, and that should hopefully be all I need to do there. Some of the Babes Retro logo still gonna show through. I'm not gonna try to hide it. There's really no point. All right, so as things are drying, let's add a base layer to the lips over the already established core values. Gonna add too much detail because might lose some of the detail when I do the skin tone wash. And then I'll have to redo this, so that just seems wasteful. All right, let's do some more. Another pass of darks on the skin. Just really get those core shadows blocked in nicely. For some reason, I left this area light, but it should really be dark. It's part of the shadow. Oh, hey Neil, sorry I missed your comment. Do I ever use gouache? No, I don't. I've tried it. Sorry, that's really loud. Um, I've tried gouache. Haven't had much luck with it, so I kind of stopped. But I do need to give that another try. Basically, I try to get the effect that Alex Ross does in his work with gouache. And after a few hours of futzing around with it, my work didn't look like that. So I said, okay, this isn't for me. So definitely not a fair fair try. You know, the stream the other day with with JP, I told that, he laughed at me. So I tried gouache for 2 hours. Didn't look like Alex Ross, so I said, so I gave up. Yeah, just bad. Hey Rich, do I have any open slots for commissions? Not right now. I mean, I can put you on the waiting list, but there's like 30 pieces I have to get done, APs and whatnot. So it's gonna be like late summer, early fall before I can get to it. But drop me a message either to the page or just to my personal profile, and we'll chat. I'm way behind. Like, honestly, I'm still doing MM20 commissions, and I have other sets that have been released since, so I'm way behind. Well, not a way to put that. If you don't mind waiting, yes. Also depends on depending on what you're looking for, it will impact the timing as well. If it's an AP, like an upper deck thing, or just PSC or custom, like non-licensed, the timeline will be different. Just because I can work on non-licensed stuff on stream, so I get to knock 2 birds with 1 stone on that. Licensed stuff, this timing is a little different. Cool, sounds good, man. Appreciate it. We'll figure something out. Yeah, thanks, Neil. Yeah, I mean, I think you can achieve pretty much any look with any medium. Some mediums are easier to get a certain look than others. You know, like oils seem to be so easy to blend to get a smooth finish. You can definitely do that with acrylic and gouache or watercolor or marker, but it might take more finicking. The same thing with gouache. It just depends on the look you're looking for and what you're trying to achieve. One way I wish I had the time to go back to school and take some courses. I'm sure I've spoken about one. I know I've spoken about this so many times that I'd love to get some professional training, but in mediums, in specific mediums like oil or gouache. But I don't want to draw apples and oranges or flowers. So kind of figure it out as I go along. I think I got a solid enough handle on drawing, like just a straight out drawing pencil. So it's just learning the product. Rich has also had a problem with shading, so I took a class in 2019. It helped a lot. I'd like to take a few more to improve my other weaknesses. Yeah, I mean, it's great to learn, and I don't think as an artist anyone ever stops learning and growing. So there's the whole 10,000 hour rule, which I don't think applies exactly the way most people interpret it, but the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it, regardless of what it is. Like look at bodybuilding as an example. The neighbor's music is getting a little loud. Oh, it's all live models, which you weren't expecting. Never did that. A little awkward. Yeah, life drawing is a little bit of a shock the first time you do it. Did a lot of life drawing in school, but yeah, the first couple of classes or sessions were really yeah, they're kind of like, am I focusing too much on this area? Why am I looking here? This is really weird. Of course, I was 15 at the time, so there's all kinds of other things playing their part, staring at naked people for an hour and a half. But what I was saying about the 10,000 hour thing, I always like to compare art to bodybuilding or fitness, because I think that's something that whether you're in it or not, everyone understands that you're not going to get an Arnold body overnight. You want to get ripped, whether you're male or female, you just got to put in the work. And I think if any individual changes their lifestyle, not lifestyle like what they do day to day, but if you go to the gym 3 hours a day, every day, for a year, and work out, lift weights, run, whatever you want to do, you will see 100%, you will see results. Now, there's genetic elements to bodybuilding and muscle building and stuff like that, and of course diet. But even if you don't change your diet, you continue eating whatever it is that you're eating right now, and you go to the gym 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, for the next 365 days, you're gonna be in shape in a year. Same thing applies with art. if you're gonna draw, paint, whatever, an hour a day for the next year, you will see definite improvement in a year. If you're gonna do it 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, you will see definite improvement. And if you think from the going to school part, school's on for 3 semesters, 4 months, so just our basic math. 4 times 5, that's 20. 4 months, no, 4 months, 4 weeks in each month, 5 days a week, that's 80 days. If you do 5 hours a day in school, that's 400 hours in a semester times 3, that's 1,200 hours in a year of school. Assuming you go to school, whatever math I did. Put in 1,200 hours in the next year. Drawing, painting, sculpting, whatever. You're gonna see an improvement. Depending on how serious you take it and how much you push yourself, you see various degrees of improvement. By 100%, you will get better within that time frame. I'm kind of preaching or going on a rant here, but a couple of times people ask me, it's like, oh, I wish I could do that, right? And I'm not a master or anything like that. I'm far from it. I'm still, like I said, I'm learning and I'm trying to grow, and I make mistakes and I see my mistakes and try to learn from my mistakes. But I'm a firm believer that anybody can do it. Just put in the time. You want to draw? Draw. That's all it is. Just do it. Just make sure you're honest with yourself as to what is it that you're actually trying to do. Yeah, I'm really going on a rant now. All right, so I'm almost at the hour mark on this piece. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to mix a base skin tone, which is going to be my burnt umber with some red, a touch of purple. Be a little bit more burnt umber. And I'm going to do a wash over. It's a little red, but that's fine. So I'm just going to glaze this. Oh, that's loud. So just do a glaze or wash, however you want to call it, over the entire skin area. And because this is so watered down, all the values that I've popped in originally are still showing. If I was doing this in watercolor, I would avoid the highlights that are left behind. But because I'm doing this in acrylic, and acrylic can be layered into infinite, I don't care. I'm going to do the highlights separately after, once this is dry. Just want to make sure I get nice flat coverage. I'm going to add a little bit to the eyes because I don't want the eyes to be white. Some on the lips to bring that value in as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna let this dry for a couple of minutes, take a break, stretch my legs, go to the washroom, whatnot, and then when I come back, I'm going to set this aside and move on to some Marvel stuff. So I will mute myself. Stick around if you can. So give me about 5 minutes. Is that on frame? Yep, it's on frame. Yep, and I'll be back. Yeah, and we're back. Hey, Matt. Yes, croissant break. Let me see how this is doing. Your phone okay? Yep, still alive. All right. Okay, that's as much as I'll do on Grace here for now. Let that fully dry before I go into more detail. Put that away. And there's some marvelous stuff. All right, so I think, where's my webcam controller? Let's see if the focus dropped again. There. All right. So a few things that I noticed that I'm going to do first is touch up the background, the foreground and the background a little bit, because there's some soft areas. So one of which is going to be add a little purple tint here. And I'm going to do a purple tint here because I didn't cover that properly. That just helps create some separation in between the various elements. We throw a touch of green, greenish gray. Hey, Rich. Sometimes Maverick, I really should get a piece with him. Now, he's not a common character, surprisingly. Hopefully they start doing some more with him in the MCU to give him some more exposure. He's a cool character. So for those that are new to the stream, this is a recreation of Wolverine number 350, variant by David Finch. I think I got that right. So it's a little different than my usual style because it is heavy on the ink lines. I don't really ink, so it's kind of a hybrid of paint with ink. He's got a gun, so it's probably banned. I don't think he's banned. Actually, I'm pretty sure he's not banned. And really, the gun rule is you can draw characters with guns, but they can't be realistic guns, and they can't be pointing at the viewer. So you can't have Cable with an AK-47 shooting the viewer. That's my understanding. If he's got like a big Nerf-looking laser gun, then that's fine. And I know where the comment's gonna go. Well, what about the Punisher? The Punisher has nothing to do with the guns. There's another reason why the Punisher is banned right now, which I don't know what it is. I can speculate, but I don't want to. So I'll have to clean up the claws. Declare. Alright, so we're back to Men in Tights. Alright, so I think Maverick, for the most part, is done. Needs highlights. I need to work on the overall color on the gun because it's still got that still got the initial hue, so I'm gonna give it like a metallic blue finish. I'm gonna do a wash there first before I get into detail on Sabretooth. Just so, where's my other brush? Oh, there it is. Yeah, Matt, my understanding about he says that Marvel sold all sort of licensing back in the 90s to try and stay afloat when they were going bankrupt, so it has something to do with that. Yeah, my understanding is that Marvel's actually gotten most of their licensing back. And Rich, as you say, the Punisher things probably has to do with a symbol being used outside of Marvel, and there was a lot of the police brutality and everything else. And his logo is definitely used by military and law enforcement. So, because he got banned mid Masterpieces 2020. So, yeah, I don't know what it is there. Marvel definitely owns the license and all the merchandising stuff for the Punisher. Now, Apocalypse, Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, all of those I think are just coming back now to them. So we should hopefully see those characters get a nice spotlight soon. Yeah, the Punisher's ban came out right after the Punisher set. So there might be some political implications to that ban. Again, I'm speculating. I don't think anybody's ever officially said why. Yeah, it's bad timing. It's weird because the Punisher has been riddled with controversy over the years. Fantastic Four, was it Fox or Universal? But it has to do with the merchandising rights as well. which might be owned by someone else or licensed to someone else. Yeah, so now that Fox bought it, that Disney bought Fox, they get all the properties, but there's also production agreements in place. So my understanding of how that works is I'm a studio, whatever studio I am, and I have the rights to an IP, and then I go and I contract or subcontract the production rights of that to, Lionsgate Film, for example. And then the option agreement has an expiration on it. So let's say I have an option for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or whatever it is. That doesn't mean that the movie's getting made, because this needs to be approved or something's being made with that option. It just means that nobody else can do anything with it in the meantime. Similar to the way Netflix does their agreements. So I remember reading this somewhere, maybe on CBR, that if Netflix does a show, like if you have an idea and you pitch it to Netflix and they sign you on for a long period of time. But that doesn't mean that your show or product's going to actually be made. So you get shows, let's say, for example, Umbrella Academy, right? Let's say you're under agreement to Netflix or Umbrella Academy. You do a season, you do 2 seasons, but then Netflix says, yeah, we're not going to do any more. You can't take that to Hulu or HBO and continue the season there. For whatever amount of years, and probably not a year or two, it's probably like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. No, it's different if you're licensing something from Marvel, like they did with Daredevil and all the Marvel shows that Netflix did. But I'm sure that there's some sort of agreement in there as well. Which you could probably always buy out, but if you're an independent IP holder, like some indie comic that gets picked up, use Jupiter's Legacy, for example. So you're Jupiter's Legacy, but then Netflix decides that they don't do anything more with it. If you want to buy it out, it's probably not within your budget. You gotta wait for the contract to expire. And then see what you can walk away with. So my understanding, my feeling is that something similar has happened with some of the other licenses for Marvel. Yeah, so there now the gun's looking silver. Add some dark areas to it to bring back some of those some of the shadows. And just very lightly glazed over because I want to keep all the lines. Then back to the licensing thing. I mean, you guys remember the whole thing with Spider-Man and Sony a couple of years ago. They have to go to court over that to find a compromise. But essentially, the way that agreement works, and the Fantastic Four one, I think, was the same. As long as they had a film in production every X amount of years, the license renewed. So basically, as long as Sony keeps on making movies, they'll maintain the license for all the Spider-Verse stuff. I don't remember what the court ruling was around Spider-Man specifically with the use in all the Infinity War stuff, but I believe Disney, Marvel, and by proxy Disney, gets a cut of it now, and that's a little weird. But so at the end of the day, everyone's happy because everyone ends up making more money if the Spider-Man universe is expanded to the MCU outside of Sony. Yeah, but unfortunately, Rich, Sony makes good movies. So unless Sony purposely makes a dud, which I don't think they would, that's not going anywhere. I'm sure that Disney could probably just throw a pile of money at them to have them stop, but or just buy them. I think that's what happened to the last Fantastic Four movie. It was rushed, and the studio knew that it was a dog's breakfast to just keep the license. You know, that might be a rumor, but there's so many things wrong with that movie. I mean, even the director said it was a piece of shit. You know, it's funny. I felt the same way the first time I tried to watch Venom, and it was like this. I didn't finish watching it, and then I put it on not too long ago. And kind of just to have it in the background because it's on Netflix here. And I was like, hey, this is actually pretty good. That I have no preconceived notion or expectation of it being fantastic. But it was a fun movie. I have to say, I actually think I enjoyed Venom more than Far From Home. But Venom 2 should be solid. I mean, Andy Serkis directing it, Woody Harrelson. You can't go wrong. Well, you can go wrong, but it's not likely. But on the other hand, I think Venom is such a loved character that you'll never make everyone happy. Sorry, Mousy. Sony's quality is nowhere near Marvel, but it's getting better now that they're kind of working together. Well, yeah, Marvel's got more money to throw behind their films, so I think it might be a budget thing. They also have a different storytelling type. Really, I think what's going to be the indicator is what they do with Morbius and how that plays out. They do a great job with Morbius, and I'm skeptical with Jared Leto, but you never know. If Morbius is solid, then I can pretty much say that Sony knows what they're doing now. Yeah, I kind of don't see Disney hiring Leto to play a role. Like, it feels like Sony's open to taking more risks with their cast and directors. Sony, Disney, and always tends to play it safe. Maybe not so much now after the success of Thor Ragnarok, which was a big risk, but yeah, it's well, and another interesting thing is going to be to see what Disney does with Deadpool 3. And of course, what this movie that they announced, The Mutants, is going to be all about. I don't think that's till 2024, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong. Yeah, Rich. Joker Leto was a little much. I mean, the aesthetic of it was great, but I don't know, he's not believable in the role. Not my Joker. Kind of understand though, because looking at the shoes he had to fill between Nicholson and Heath Ledger, he had to try to make the character his own and go in a totally different direction. But yeah, I don't think that worked out. Too weird for me. I like the kid that played the Joker in Gotham. He did a good job. But here's the thing, man. The Snyder Cut epilogue thing at the end, that was a totally different world. So you can do whatever you want with the Joker there. It would actually been kind of cool to see the version of the Joker where he's got like the face stapled on. I think that's from a video game. All right, so definitely moving into Sabertooth now. As you can see, I'm just punching up the blacks. In preparation of another layer of color. Pretty happy with the brown, but the yellow needs to be orange. So to the brown, I'm going to add a purple wash. And the yellow, I'm going to add an orange or maybe even straight out red glaze. But I need to get the blacks stronger. Rich asked me if I collect, read comics or cards. So I used to collect a lot, both comics and cards when I was younger. But I got out of it. So I don't really dabble in it anymore. Recently, I started to chase the Unbound on e-Pack, which I'm still having an existential crisis with, like whether I want to go in that far. But mostly I don't. What I'm trying to do now and is really get into the art aspect of it, because in reflection of why I collected cards and comics, it wasn't for the collecting, it was really for the art. So now that I'm older and wiser, I think as budgets permit, I'm going to start trying to do a little bit of light original art. Yeah, just go to the original art. So I have one commission that I'm hoping to finalize this week, which is going to be my first venture into art collecting. The Doctor Strange is fire. Sorry, Matt, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, the Doctor Strange. Oh, the Doctor Strange card for tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna sell fast. Sorry, it took me a second to figure out what you're talking about. That is definitely the nicest he's done so far, or they put out so far. That's gonna sell out fast, I think. You see how lucky I am with the gold SIGs on that. So Rich says, when I started collecting comics, it was for the art. Jim Lee blew me away as a kid. Started reading X-Men one, then fell out till the early 2000s. But it was always about the art for me. Got me into drawing. Yeah, I mean, I think the first comic book that I can remember buying, it was either X-Force or X-Factor. Came out in '93. It was part of the Executioner saga, and it came with a trading card. And I remember I was at a convenience store with my mom. I was 12 or 13 at the time, and or a gas station or something, 7-Eleven. And I said, "Oh, can I get a comic book?" And my mom said, "Yeah, sure, but you can only get one, so pick one." So I picked the one with the trading card in it because, you know, value for your buck there, right? I get a comic book and a card, which was totally I think it might have probably been the first time I've seen the comic book card. I'd seen the baseball and hockey stuff, whatever, but I was never into that. And pretty sure it was a Jim Lee cover. It's got Strife in the background and Gene, and he's kind of holding his hand out. Yeah, I can't remember the story. I mean, the whole Executioner Song saga was a very convoluted story, and you couldn't just pick up an issue. I think it was part 9 or something toward the end. So I had no idea what was going on. But the art was really cool, and of course the trading card. I still have it somewhere. It was just really cool. And after that, soon after that, Masterpieces came out, and they used to sell them at the video place where we'd rent VHS tapes. It's called Pick a Flick. So one day I went to Pick a Flick to rent a video game or a movie, and they had these Marvel Masterpieces card, and they had a few singles out in the display, and of course they're selling packs, and I just lost my mind. I'd never seen superheroes or pop characters drawn in that, like done like that, and it just kind of opened my eyes to the possibilities. So a couple of my friends in elementary school, we all started collecting those, and we're trading amongst ourselves, and got a little older, started buying more comic books, and really got heavy to collecting at one point. I worked at a comic book store in Toronto for a little bit. And it was always about the art. It wasn't about the stories. And then really, I think, as I got older and discovered other ways I could spend my time or money that were more rewarding, if you will, as I started dating and discovering the allure of the opposite gender, collecting took a backseat. Sold most of my collection. I mean, in retrospect, from an investing point of view, I probably should have held on to it, because I did have Masterpieces up to 2016 at least. Well, I think that was the last one that I was really into. Fleer X-Men, a lot of DC stuff, Image. And I sold most of them. Recently, I found, my dad was cleaning his basement and found the box with kind of the leftovers. And looks like I had most of the first Masterpieces set, which I'll never let go. And a bunch of other stuff. Like I found some MM16s that I put up for sale in the group. Actually need to revisit that post. See if anyone is interested or wanted them. I was just trying to move them as a bulk. I don't want to list them on eBay and deal with all that bullshit. They can help fill someone's collection. I'm not going to do anything with it. I tried to sell them as bulk, which might have been the reason it's not moving. Maybe I'll list them individually, but shipping is stupid out of Canada, so I don't know if it'll make sense to anyone. Yeah, it's a cool story, Rich. I did end up getting all of them when I got into it and read it. It was a cool story. Strife was a very strange character. And I remember thinking to myself, like, he's got to be a pain in the ass to draw. Right? Like, he's not like the Colossus or Cyber or any of the guys that have all the banding, which you can kind of, you know, you don't need to keep the consistency. But Strife has all those layers of metal sheeting on his costume, and I was like, he's not an easy character to do. Similar to our boy Maverick here. But what I'm doing now is I'm trying to get some original art commissions, or I don't know, financially I want to dedicate the funds to actually pick up comic panels and covers and stuff like that. I would love to, but I think I'm better off just commissioning artists or buying sketches from the artists that inspired me and shaped my creative outlets. And if I could get a Jusko sketch, which I think after I get this one that I'm hoping to finalize this week, that'll be the next one I'll chase. Bianchi. And I'm not talking about trading cards or sketch cards and stuff, because I don't, like I said, I don't collect, so wouldn't get it for the collectivity aspect of it or resale value aspect of it. Like, I'm perfectly okay getting a PSC from Bianchi or Jusko or Dave DeVries, Julie, Boris. Well, can you imagine getting a sketch from Boris? Palumbo. Basically anybody who worked on masterpieces. Oh, you love my story, not the comic storyline. Okay. It's okay either way. Oh, you have a Jim Lee Batman sketch? And that's... I was supposed to meet Jim Lee. Well, actually, I did meet Jim Lee in a professional capacity in my day job a couple years ago. Such a nice guy, and obviously couldn't sit there being like go all geek out on him and say, "Hey, Jim, can you sign my T-shirt? Can you draw me something? Can you do me Batman? Can you do Wolverine?" But I was supposed to. Was it 2020? Yeah, 2020, I believe, WonderCon. I was supposed to spend a weekend at the DC booth and do all kinds of stuff behind the scenes there, which would have been, I was really looking forward to doing that. Because that would have been an opportunity to just have casual conversations with all their talent. A lot of artists and creators, including Jim, were supposed to be there, but then, of course, the world got hit with this weird pandemic, which ruined everything. So I don't know if that opportunity is ever going to come back, but I hope it does. Oh, speaking of Alex Ross, hold on. I would love an Alex Ross sketch, but for now, okay, hopefully I don't mess this up. I went to my local comic shop yesterday, tried to buy some, see if they have any blank sketch covers, which they didn't, but they had this. It won't fit in the camera. So this is the Alex Ross Marvel Comics poster book. It's full posters, 35 removable frameable prints plus one giant poster. So it's individual posters, looks like 12 by 19 of all 35 characters in the piece that he did for Marvel. Actually, I believe it's at their New York office. So, like that. And they'll have a little story on the back of the poster. And it's a high quality print. You can get it on Amazon. it just came out in April. I think it's one of those things that got released and nobody knows about. It's like 25 bucks US retail. And I went on, I bought this at the comic shop. I don't know what was there, and cover price was $32 Canadian. So they only had the one. I'm gonna go on Amazon after and see if I can maybe order another one or two and just shelve them, because if I ever do run into Alex Ross, I don't want him to sign every single one of them. But I might actually frame most of these. I mean, realistically, you can't go to a con and pick up an Alex Ross print for less than like 15 bucks, right? And these are high quality prints. Sure, it's as good, if not better, as what you pick up at a con, and you can get 30 of them for 25 bucks. Oh, plus it has, you know, it won't fit on camera, but the back fold is all of them in a 4-page fold out. So if you have a good framer, you can get it put out flattened. Yeah, frame all 35 of them, or 30, yeah, all 35 of them, plus the removable pull-out posters. It's great, and they're all to scale. So if you look at the sheet, like Captain America takes up the whole sheet, but Spider-Man's crouched down, so he's down here, like Wolverine, and Beast is crouched. So they're all the posters are done up to the proper scale. So you can see them side by side, and then Hulk's massive. All right, back to my little sketch here. All right, so what did I say? I need to do some purple over the browns. And then do some reds over the yellows. And I think timing-wise, that'll be a good point to take a little break again as all of that dries. So it automatically changes the saturation, not the saturation, the hue of the piece. Now, am I doing this backwards? No, the triangles are brown. Okay, that's good. Yeah, going back to what you say, you have the signed Alex Ross prints. I've seen some of them on eBay. It just feels like people are overcharging for what they are. I think I have a couple of signed Jusko things. Like I have the Return of Wolverine #1. No CO or anything, but just signed. I have a Vampirella print from him. Again, signed. And Alex Ross I don't, but he signed a lot of stuff. So I've seen quite a few books signed by him, and I don't care about grading. So I don't need them slabbed. So maybe I'll have to settle for that. Grab like something from him. And that's probably as close as I'm going to get to having an original Ross anything. But people like Jusko, DeVries, Patelis, Scanlon, am I saying that right? Peter Scanlon. Those guys are so accessible. Fred Ian, right? That I think that it would be reasonably affordable to get something original from them. Obviously not something massive. I'm not getting an 11 by 17. Jusko, Venom or something like that, but you got like a 5 by 7. I'm okay with that. Put it on the wall. I have a Silver Surfer print from Dimitris Patelis. that I won in the MCCW group last Christmas. He hopped on and said, "Hey, I have this handful of posters of signed prints of his MM95, I'm gonna say, characters." And I won one. Started chatting with him. Yeah, and I won that and sent him over. Started talking to him on Facebook a little bit. Turned out he's Canadian. He's out of Montreal. Great guy. Chat a little bit with DeVries too. Another great guy. It's just kind of surprising how most of these artists, how approachable they are. Like I'm used to engaging with celebrities, like Hollywood people, and they are really not, for the most part, they are not approachable. And even in professional capacity, they're very high maintenance. Some more than others, obviously, but yeah. If you look at the comic book artists and creators, they're not the same. Most of them don't really acknowledge their fame. They're just like normal people that like to draw superheroes and want to talk about superheroes. Just get a big frame with multiple mats. That's gonna be a big ass frame. This piece is gonna look amazing. Frame, black and white matte with gold gallery frame. Yeah, I don't know about the gold, but put this on a white or a black mat, it should pop nicely. But then I'm not a fan of the gold frames. I don't know what it is. I just don't personally like them. I like black frames and everything. All right, let's add a red finish too. There we go. I'm giving a little orange feel. So it's not too orange. Don't want it to look pink. Oh man, do whatever you like. I'm saying personally, I don't like gold frames for anything. Don't like silver either. I think it's the shiny. Don't like the shiny. There we go. I think that makes a huge difference. Just really makes, because there's so much yellow between the three characters. I haven't even done the hair and the fur and his boa. So really want to keep different temperatures of the yellows on it. So Wolverine's got more of the base yellow is the same, but Wolverine's got more of brown into it, like a burnt umber mix into it with a touch of red. Maverick is yellow, like base yellow with what's called daffodil yellow, which is a really saturated, like really bright yellow and white. And he's going to have that warmth to him, so the purple and the red going through. I need to add some highlights to the face. So what I'm going to do now, yeah, Rich, it's all about the contrast, right? So whether it's darks and lights or just color contrast, right? That's what I think adds all the depth and helps shape the form. And then this really needs to dry now on these two parts, because I need to bring the contrast back in the darks on the Turn-Bay, whether I want to do the orange or the orange parts or the brown parts first. But I need to bring the contrast back in all the core shadows here, because you can see the darkest area that's really here, 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 and here doesn't really translate into Sabertooth. So I'm going to go back on black washes and start getting a solid black fading into the color, but that has to be fully dry, because otherwise it's going to bleed all over the place. So what are we on time? It's 2:15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry for 5 minutes. Doesn't take long with acrylics. I'm going to top off my coffee, and yeah, I'll come back. Hopefully you guys can stick around. If not, I'll be here. We'll see you next time. If not, I'm just going to mute it so you don't hear the water run and whatnot. Okay, we're back. Hey, thanks, Matt. Yeah, go hit the books. Thanks for tuning in. Won't be finished today. I think there'll be one more stream working on this. I'll put in maybe another 45 minutes. I'll try to wrap out around 3. Get a couple other things done before I head home. Make sure this is nice and dry enough. So this is just diluted black. See if there's anyone still left in the chat. Oh, these long streams on a Sunday, they're not ideal. I think I've mentioned it before, but if anybody ever wants to hop on a stream, let me know. I can host a bunch of people. You don't necessarily need to draw. If you just want to shoot the shit, I use a service called StreamYard, so it's browser-based. You just go to a web page, give your phone permissions in the browser, and you hop in. Great service. Really, I don't know if they intended it to be towards creators, but a lot of I see a lot of people using it, and it allows multicasting, which is the great thing. Oh, nice, Rich. Love to see what you're doing. Are you a collector? Are you an artist? Sorry, I don't think I know who you are. Just don't recognize the name. It's going to be here. I've collected comics forever and drawn for years, but haven't drawn anything that wasn't for a toddler in years. So I'm getting back into it. Nice. That's why, really, I mean, that's why I got back into arts. I mean, I have a fine arts background from high school. Originally, I wanted to be a classical animator, and that was the kind of the path I took going into college. But then as I started really getting exposed to the work, I discovered that I don't have the attention span or the patience for it. So I switched gears into digital, doing graphic design and whatever, which evolved into development and so on. So professionally, I do digital marketing, growth hacking, stuff like that. And then a few years ago, it occurred to me that I spent an excessive amount of time on the computer. So I decided to go back to drawing and painting as, not that you need to know my life story, but the short version, trying to go doing drawing and painting as a way to unplug. And that kind of evolved from there when Upper Deck reached out in 2017 to work on Premiere 17. And it's become a much bigger part of my life. So going back to being an advocate for everyone should be drawing and painting and doing whatever, because it's just a great outlet. And I find streaming, because oftentimes I'll stream and there's no audience, which is fine, because I'm not doing it to build an audience or anything like that. It just keeps me from getting distracted. It's very easy to click the wrong thing on YouTube, and 4 hours later, get nothing done. So. Plus, it's fun to chat with people. Hopefully, as things continue to open up, be able to maybe find some local drink and draws at pubs or restaurants. Reconnect with some of the local artists that I found. We'll just have an in-person sesh. Tony and Elaine Perna, they're close. There's another guy whose name I can't remember who's close as well. And then maybe eventually do a con. But I don't know what I would do at a con. I don't see myself setting up a booth anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, if I can get professional work out of this, I would not be opposed to it. But even if I don't, doing it as a hobby and kind of, side gig, as I'm doing it now, I'm okay with that. Not really doing it for the money. I would love to do some inserts or for a Marvel set, or some covers or promotional art. I would not be opposed to that. House painting. I mean, house painting is an art too. And doing the edging and getting the consistent color and stuff like that, that takes some skill. If I was maybe 20 years younger, I'd take a different approach to this. But can't start at this point in time to dedicate all my time to the art and try to build a name or career or consistent revenue stream out of it. But now, if I was in high school, knowing what I know now, I think it'd be a different ballgame. Hindsight, right? Back to living at home with mom and dad and not worrying about paying bills and car payments and all that other stuff. So I see a lot of young kids, I use the term young kids, they're like, oh, I want to be a comic book artist. I want to work this. I want to do that. You have every opportunity to do that. You just need to dedicate yourself to it. In the digital age, it's so much more accessible and viable to become a professional cartoonist or illustrationist. I don't know how you would categorize sci-fi artist. I mean, when I was in high school, it was right at the dawn of the internet. It wasn't the internet that is today. It was dial-up and all that. So you didn't have the communities and the social media opportunities that are available now. I was telling one kid, he was going on about how you know, he really wants to do this, but and he likes Jim Lee and Liefeld and all the '90s artists, but he can't find. He feels that he's not getting any better, and he's not really doesn't know where to start. And I said, okay, who do you follow on Instagram, right? Well, show me your Instagram account. And he showed it to me, and it was all like car pictures and random shit. And he's following like The Rock and Kevin Hart and musicians and pop culture things. I'm like, how come you're not following Jim Lee, Liefeld, Ross, any of these guys? And he's like, well, because this stuff is more fun. Like, well, your thinking's wrong. If you don't think that the stuff that they post is interesting, then you're lying to yourself. You don't want to do this. Right? For the most part, these guys will engage on social media. If you like Jim Lee's stuff, like Jim Lee's great, Liefeld, McFarlane, like engage with their posts. Build some sort of virtual rapport with them and ask questions. They'll answer. And they might not answer to every single thing because they get bombarded with things, but who cares what Kim Kardashian's doing or what stunt Kevin Hart is doing now? I mean, it's entertaining, sure, but how does that benefit you? Anyways. Hey, Elvin. How's it going? So he came in right in the middle of my rant about kids or the youths and how they're just missing out on opportunities. 36 is definitely way easier to break into the industry now that it was for us. Yeah, 100%. If you got talent, get on social media, post your stuff, you'll get recognized. Engage with the people that make it that matter, and start there. You want to talk to a editor at Marvel? Find them on Facebook. Find them on Instagram. Find them on LinkedIn. Connect with them there. It's unreal. Back in my day, we had to send a fax or call the head office and hope that the secretary would let you through. You want to work on Marvel, you have to move to New York and go camp in front of their office and hope you run into someone. Now, just send an email. Maybe you need to go to a con and meet with them to do portfolio reviews, if they even do portfolio reviews. Yeah, writing letters and getting Xerox copies of your stuff, trying to scan things and figuring out how to fit them all on a floppy disk, or then buying a $35 zip disk and being like, oh man, am I ever going to see this thing back? Because it's all my beer money for this week. Okay? I'll just send an email. And change your handle so it's not something like Sir Twerks a lot at Hotmail. Oh, why is the camera shaking so much? Sorry, I don't know what's going on. There. Write letters. smoke signals. Is this drawing self-commission or comic? This is commission for, yeah, it's a commission for someone. It's my rendition of a David Finch cover. It's Wolverine 350. David Finch did this variant, and I was commissioned to do my version of it. It's a 5x7 on watercolor paper, acrylic, and ink. I've been insanely fortunate to have a really outstanding amount of support from the trading card collector community, with commissions and, you know, conversation and things like that, just to help motivate. So insanely grateful for that, and I think part of it is really just the MCCW and the masterpieces groups, where I got to meet a bunch of people, get feedback, made some great virtual friends because I haven't met anybody in person. It helps. No, thanks, Eden. Enid, not Eden, sorry. Crazy amount of detail on this one because of the David Finch style line work. And said before, not really my usual style of painting, but can't do a David Finch homage and not maintain that grittiness. That would just be sacrilegious. Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, I didn't know. Elvin, all right. No offense. No, that's cool that you guys share an account. How much time into this painting? Getting close to 10 hours, I'll say, from start to finish. I work slow. Well aware of it, and it's one of the challenges that I face all the time, especially with doing trading card sets. I work really slow. And I like to do a lot of layers. I like to work with a small brush, but I don't mind it at all. As long as I have the time, I will work at my pace. So if I have the time, I'll put the same amount of, like if scheduling allows it, I'll put the same amount of detail and process into set cards. But sometimes you don't have the don't have that time. Have I done some of the last set Back to Retro 5? No, I didn't work on Back to Retro 5, but I'm working on Babes. I had to pass on 5 because of some upper deck stuff. Yeah, again, timing didn't make sense, but I'm working on Babes now. Oh, sorry, yeah, Elvin, you were on BTR 5, right? You did 5, okay. Yeah, I thought I saw, I think you posted some stuff in the artist group there. I'm horrible with names. Yeah, I wish I had the time to work on that one because that one looked like a fun one. That's all the creatures, right? BTR 5? That's the creature one, and I love doing creatures. All right, let's get some detail on the face. All right, so lights from the right. Creatures are great for painting, I find, because it allows you to be very organic and really kind of let the brush build the texture and not have to draw it all in. You can get some really cool textures out of a paintbrush, but can't do that on humanoids because then they don't look human and they start looking weird. Time. Okay, maybe got another 15 minutes. I'll put into this today. Hopefully, I can get some deep a base coat on the fur. Yeah, cartoons are fun too. Not so much for paint though. But I do like doing cartoons, just the sketches. Definitely don't do enough of that. gonna try painting a card, done pens, graphite, and color pencil. Haven't tried paint yet. It's for me, I find paint to be the easiest medium to work with, though of course it's the slowest. Hence the 10 hours in. Graphite is, I love working just graphite, just shading. But there's no, unfortunately, from the Marvel side, especially, you can't, that's not acceptable. So you got to do full color. Pencil crayon is fine, or colored pencils, depending on where you're on the world, they're called different things. I really enjoy doing that, but I think I like paint better, so I don't really do pencil much. And markers, I mentioned before, I really don't know how to use. Hey, Jeffrey. So this guy, the middle character is Maverick. So it's part of the Weapon X program. Not the most well-known character, but those that do know him love him. Kind of like Wolverine meets the Punisher meets Cable. A little bit of that Weapon X feralness to him. Is this for Matt? Yes, yes, it is. I don't think we're hiding the fact that it's for him. And if we are, sorry, spoiler alert, it's for Matt. Yeah, Jeffrey, that was me. The Venom thing. I was driving, so that's kind of weird. Trying to listen and engage and drive in the rain wasn't the greatest thing ever. Yeah, me too. But for the longest time, he couldn't do it on Android, and then now there's an app for it, so I was able to get it on my phone. So try to join future conversations. It's a good chat. Yeah, no problem, Melvin. Try acrylics. It's a little bit of a pain to get used to, but once you get the hang of it and you get over the fact that you don't need to work light to dark or dark to light, do whatever you want whenever you want, just make sure you let it dry. I think it's a very fun medium. Well, for me anyway, so hopefully you enjoy it as well. yeah, there's so many different kinds of collectors that look at different things, and it's really um, it's really nice to get everyone talking and get a sense of what everyone's point of view is and what they're looking for and what they consider premium, or how they look at the quality and the sets and the collectability of something. I don't collect anything anymore, so just from the artist point of view. Um, but yeah, it's great. Just nice to engage with the community more than anything else. Are you a character collector, Jeffrey? Or a set guy? Or both? Oh, thanks, Rich. Well, thanks for tuning in, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go take care of the kid. That's more important. Oh, Morbius and Gamora. Those are good characters, I think, to chase. They're not as I don't want to say sought after because that's the wrong word, but they're not. You see, especially Gamora. There's a lot of Gamora art out there, but she's not. I don't think there's too many people that explicitly PC her, so it should be easy to find the work. And Morbius, I think, as the movie comes out, is going to become more popular, as long as the movie's not a total dud. I really enjoyed doing Gamora, so I think pretty much every set I do a Gamora. So there's, sure, I'm not the only artist that does that. So. Cool. Thanks, Elvin. Appreciate you tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to wrap up in shortly as well. I think it's do want to get a layer, a base layer on the hair on Sabretooth. I think that's probably as far as I'll take this today. I've done Morbius. I think I did one in MM20. It's not really one of my go-to characters, and it's just because I forgot about him, really. But yeah, I did one in MM20. I'll definitely do more of him because I really like doing the creepy creature stuff, and he's a good, I think, a good candidate for that type of stuff. I did one for Premiere 19 as well, I think. Yeah, dual panel. There'll be a couple of them floating around out there, but not too many. Actually, I think I know who has the Premiere one. I don't remember if I saw the Masterpieces one. Thanks, Jeffrey. Yeah, so I have to say this because I'm a big advocate for giving credit where credit's due. This is homage to David Finch, Wolverine number 350 variant. So the position, the color palette, everything is based on that cover. It's not an identical reproduction, but it is pretty close. So took a little bit of liberty with the lighting, and I made Wolf Sabretooth a lot bigger because I think he should just be massive. But other than that, the lighting setup, the color palette, the poses is all David Finch. So when I sign it, it will say after Finch. Hopefully he doesn't mind. All right, so I think the last thing I'm going to do is get a base glaze on Sabretooth's hair and fur, and then wrap it up for today. So that's going to be a warm gray, which is black with yellow with white. If anyone's keeping track of the colors mixing. It's actually going to look a little greenish at first, but it's the base, so that's what we want. Actually, I have a little bit of the same tint to Maverick's hair. Do want to create a little bit of separation between the fur and the hair. So I'm going to give the fur a little bit more of a lighter, not the fur, the boa, or whatever this thing around his neck is. Give it a little bit of a lighter hue, not hue, tint. This looks not the same, and then when I pick up the highlights, and will probably be almost solid white, I'll add the texture to it. It's a little more blondish on saber tooth. Wolvie fur. Yeah, Wolverine fur. Why does Sabretooth need a fur coat? I don't know, but I guess he gets cold. Let's add some highlights. I used to really hate doing fur, but I still struggle with women's hair just to get the hairstyle. But crazy loose hair like this is actually, I find, really simple to do, and I'm just going to get a hang to just block it in pencil and then let the brush, some dry brush with various levels of highlights and shadows. Sorry, highlights and midtones, and it just kind of starts coming together. This is where having an old abused brush comes in really handy because you get a really nice texture out of it. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done. The only thing I want to do is add a little bit of highlight to the background. So I'm just going to throw in a touch of titanium white diluted with a lot of water. I want to bring up some of these highlights just to create a little bit more depth. Not doing any detail in the background. We want to create a little bit more separation in some of these areas. It's going to be very subtle. I'm hoping it will be very subtle. I don't want it to pop out. Just create a little bit more depth. I need to do this in a couple of layers, let it fully dry. little highlight here as well. And that will be it for today. Thanks so much everyone that tuned in. Really appreciate the support, the conversation, shares, whatever. And yeah, I don't know which day I'll be streaming again this week. Thursday is a holiday here, so I'm hoping to be on for like most of the day if the schedule allows. I'm not gonna schedule, well, maybe I'll schedule it and then we'll see, but yeah, I should be on Thursday at the very least. Wednesday, maybe I'll hop on to Warner's stream if he does one. And maybe another day during the week. If not, next Sunday, I'm definitely not going to be streaming. Got to take my dog to the groomers, get her all washed and trimmed and whatever. But that's it. That's it for me for today. Once again, thanks everyone for joining in. Always a blast. Appreciate everyone. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday. This piece should be done this week and on her way or his way to hopefully the forever home. That's it. Thanks so much. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'm out. Bye.